about marriage. You can't jump right into talking about marriage without going to dating. And we talked about a couple of things last week. We talked about the characteristics of the Christian spouse. I had you list those. And then I had you ask the question, how am I doing? How am I living up to those characteristics? And then I just asked you guys, what does dating look like today? Because I want to know what dating looked like today compared to what it was when I was dating. Then we're going to springboard on this right here to something that Aubrey said last week when she was talking about, Clay, you will try, you'll try foods for her, right? She'll, other way around. So you'll try foods for him. So you like all kinds of different foods. You have your little, this is what I want to keep in this box. Okay.
Chicken tenders at the restaurant, you know.
So what, yeah, oh my goodness. The teens. What are we going to eat? Doesn't matter, all you want to eat is chicken anyhow. What? Okay. If you do that for him, what does he do for you?
I'd say it's the same for foods, but maybe some other things. I don't know. What have you tried to do?
Well, she's trying to get me to go to the tanning bed, and I'm not done that yet.
Sun's out there, it's
Exactly. I'm not done that yet.
Just get outside and work a little bit. You get taken.
I can't think of anything specific, but there's been things.
Okay. What's the importance of that?
Compromise.
Compromise. Keep going.
Give and take.
Oh, you mean a relationship is a give and take type thing. Okay, we're getting that.
That's what keeps it healthy.
Okay. Keep going.
Selfless.
Say it louder.
Selfless.
Selfless. If we're moving into this, then we've got to move into selflessness. It's a hard word to say. But you remember what we said here? The good characteristics of a Christian spouse were the same as the good characteristics of a Christian. All right, so what kinds of things do you guys do together these days?
Everybody likes to eat.
Well,
I just didn't want to say it.
I'm going to tell you what. Psychology says, no matter what, you want to develop a lasting relationship with folks, you sit down and you have a meal with them. And not just once, but you make that a habit. And over the dinner table is many times where you talk about things that just kind of pop up and you find things out about folks. I know when we have things in our house, you find out folks will start talking, you're like, I never thought they would like that. I didn't peg them for that. What else? Everybody likes to go eat, absolutely. That was the same way back in the Stone Ages when I was dating.
Golf.
What's that?
Golf.
Or any other type of physical activity.
Miniature.
Miniature golf? Okay. Top golf.
Travel.
What?
You know how to travel.
Travel. Yeah, you're cooped up in a vehicle with somebody, you get to learn a whole lot about them. Maybe more than you want to know sometimes. What else? You ever just jumped in the car and went riding around?
Listen to music.
Now we're getting there.
I think
Why do you do the? What'd you start saying?
I was going to say, me and Lon last week were talking about it's really popular now to go to Sonic with your BF or your GF.
Oh wow, things are coming full circle.
Drive-in.
Back to the drive-in. That's right.
Yeah, listen to
Movies. We're lucky to find something we're going to see now.
Comes out Friday.
Do I now?
You can't afford it until Friday. Come on.
The Chosen is out.
please.
Don't give me your pinky.
Okay.
We love games, card games, board games,
There we go.
whatever.
But with all these activities you just named, what is really the whole purpose of any of those?
Getting to know somebody.
Getting to know somebody. And
Spending
spending time together, camaraderie. It's just being able to spend time with one another. Okay. Why?
Because we like them.
Keep going. You like them.
Because you want to get to know that person.
You're trying to get to know them better.
Well, like with games, you can really figure out if you can work with somebody well or not.
Yep.
Very
Or how
good.
they are when they lose.
Doing that?
How they are when they lose.
There you go. That'll tell you a whole lot. That'll tell you a whole lot. Good deal.
That way you know if they're a Christian.
All right, now I want you to think about this. And I want you to seriously think about this. As you begin dating, I'm not talking about the first time you go out. I'm talking about you've been going out for a while and things are more serious than they were. You enjoy spending time, you find reasons to spend time with one another. What starts happening to other relationships?
Fading out. Your friends are asking where you are.
Sure enough.
Some of them could be your friends.
I'll agree, they do. So talk to me about that. How do you feel about that? Do you think that should be the case? To some extent, right? Guess what? That's when you find out who your real friends are. Because your real friends understand, okay, they're wanting this relationship, but they're still there if you meet them, right? This is the way to find out true friends. Now I'm fixing to. In a little while, we'll talk about what do they think about who you're dating. We'll get to that. So, let's talk about some uncomfortable stuff. We talked about where we went. Are there some places you don't need to go with that? And obviously, I mean, y'all, there are some places you don't need to be, period. I'm not talking about those places. But there's some places that you probably just shouldn't go on a date. Or is everywhere just fine? Everybody's just looking at it. I can't think of anywhere I shouldn't be. Somebody goes to James chapter 1, verses 14 and 15. Maybe this will help you think of places you shouldn't be. And whoever gets there, tell me what version you're reading from, and go ahead and start.
ESV. But each person is tempted when he is lured and enticed by his own desire. Then desire, when it has conceived, gives birth to sin, and sin, when it is fully grown, brings forth death.
With that verse in mind, there are some places you don't need to go on a date. Quiet on me tonight. So your parents would be fine with you bring your boyfriend, girlfriend, whichever the case may be, home to the house. They're not home. Go to your bedroom and shut the door. Everybody is good with that, right?
I feel like that's like classic for whenever we're kind of younger. I think it's different now that the majority of us are in college and some of us have homes. And I mean, you still have that responsibility of upholding the Christian side of things, but I don't think the temptation ever changes on, you know, whether you're a hustler or not. You might just be held back by your parents more now than you are, or more then than you are now. So.
And if you have your own place and you have somebody over, is there still some things you probably need to avoid?
I think a lot of times people can misunderstand or misinterpret what's going on too. I mean, Clay has a home. If my car is there and it's just us two, a lot of people from the church could drive by and think one thing or another.
Who's that? Whose problem is that?
There's.
Okay. It's between you and God. But you do understand that there are situations you probably shouldn't put yourself in. Why? What did we just read in James? First thing is a temptation. Then you give in to the temptation. And then the next thing you know is you commit a sin. Let me make this clear. Nowhere in the Bible is the temptation the sin. Who was tempted? 40 days, 40 nights, he was out in the desert. Who was tempted? Jesus himself was tempted. The temptation is not the sin. What's the sin?
The act.
The act, giving into it. But here's the problem. James warns, don't get yourself into a situation where your mind is going places it doesn't need to go, because it's kind of like a snowball going downhill. Once it gets going, it's kind of hard to stop that thing. Give us some places that you would consider like safe. We talked about some of them.
Consider what safe?
Yeah, to go home today.
Church.
Absolutely, that's a good one. When Connor and Lynn had his first date to church on Wednesday night, was it Wednesday night?
First,
First going out date was it?
My first one, that was in Louisville City. As out
Where?
in public, which you want to meet, has one to be out in a public area.
I understand that. I can
she
understand that.
still want to do
There's
that.
one for you, I do.
With other people.
Yeah. Among other folks. But it doesn't mean you have to be surrounded in a crowd. What about going to a park? Take a walk around the lake or whatever. I mean, there's people all around. Those are safe spaces because you're probably not going to get yourself into doing some things that you shouldn't do. Y'all talked about going to movies. A lot of movies out there that elicit a lot of emotion and thoughts that maybe should be stirred up. Gotta be careful about which movies you go to. I think Kung Fu Panda would be okay. Haven't gone to see it yet, but I'm pretty safe in saying I think it'll be all right. All right. I want to ask you this question. Y'all got your handheld computers. What's the difference between love and infatuation?
Looks and feelings.
You said, say again.
Looks and feelings.
Looks and feelings. That lends toward what? Love or infatuation?
I mean that infatuation is like, it's all about the looks. And then love is going to be more about how do you feel about that person.
Somebody look up infatuation. See what the dictionary tells you.
I think infatuation is temporary, doesn't last.
Yes, that is one of the main definitions. It is short-lived. Short-lived. Somebody go to 2 Samuel. Let's all go to 2 Samuel. Watch me forget. I'm going to have to look at the notes. 2 Samuel 13, verses 11 through 16. Let me set up the situation. The guy's been given some horrible advice by his friend. Here's what you need to do. Because he has become infatuated with his half-sister. You there? 2 Samuel 13? I looked that down right.
Yes.
Is it Tamar?
Yes, sister.
Yeah. Who's got that one for us? What version?
I can read it. New King James, 11 through 16.
11 through 16. This is infatuation. And listen to what it leads to.
Now when she had brought them to him to eat, he took hold of her and said to her, "Come lie with me, my sister." But she answered him, "No, my brother, do not force me, for no such thing should be done in Israel. Do not do this disgraceful thing, and I, where could I take my shame? And as for you, you would be like one of the fools in Israel. Now therefore, please speak to the king, for he will not withhold me from you." However, he would not heed her voice, and began stronger than he forced her and lay with her. Then Amnon hated her exceedingly, so that the hatred with which he hated her was greater than the love with which he had loved her. And Amnon said to her, Arise, be gone. So she said to him, No, indeed, this evil sending me away is worse than the other that you did to me.
He thought he loved her. What did that last verse say? His hatred for her was stronger than the love that he thought he had for her. To the point, and I'm going to make this make sense to you, I hope. He says, I don't want to see you. Get out of my sight. I don't see you anymore. A few verses, I just can't live without her. Gotta have her. Get out of my sight. I can't stand to see you anymore. Infatuation is all about feelings. Now, there are feelings involved in love. Don't get me wrong. Absolutely. But true love goes beyond feelings. Now, I'm going to take you to a verse, but I'm going to set you up before you read this. 1 Corinthians chapter 13, verses 1 through 8, first part of 8. So let me make this clear. This is written to a church. Everybody got that? It is written telling them how to treat one another in the church. But if I'm supposed to treat my fellow Christian this way, how much more should I treat my spouse this way? So I don't want you to think I'm pulling something out of context. This is to a church, but it's explaining what true love, the definition of true love, not romantic love, but true, lasting love is. Who's got it? Who's going to read it for us?
What was the chapter?
1 Corinthians 13, verses 1 through 8, first part of 8. You do Bible? Grab mine right there. You're welcome to 1 Corinthians 13. Appreciate you.
If I speak in the tongues of men and of angels, but have not love, I'm a noisy gong and or a clanging cymbal. And if I have prophetic powers and understand all mysteries and all knowledge, and if I have all faith, so as to remove mountains, but I have not love, I am nothing. If I give away all I have, and if I deliver up my body to be burned, but have not love, I gain nothing. Love is patient and kind. Love does not envy or boast. It is not arrogant or rude. It does not insist on its own way. It is not irritable or resentful. It does not rejoice at wrongdoing, but rejoices with the truth. Love bears all things, believes all things, hopes all things, endures all things. Love never ends. Did you say just the beginning of 8?
Yeah, that's it. New King James says, love never fails. Love never ends. Love, true love. I knew that was coming. I knew that was coming. Let's take those verses apart. Give me some of the characteristics of true, lasting, more than just butterflies in your stomach, love. Take it apart.
Patient and kind.
Patient and kind. Those of you who are about to get married, you're fixing to be next to somebody that up until this point, you can separate at times. You can go back to your house and you can go to his house. There's going to come a time when you're together 24/7. And the most distance you can put between you is one in-house to the other unless you get in your vehicle and leave. You better learn to be patient. Because guess what? You're not going to like everything they do. And you're going to have to decide that thing or handful of things that just gets on your last nerve. Is it worth the battle? Is it worth saying something about? And let me give you a measurement. Can you keep putting up with it? Can you put up with it if it becomes more intense? If you answer no to either of those questions, yep, it's worth talking about. If you cannot bring yourself to believe that I can keep putting up with this, and I can put up with this if this gets worse. And that's on both sides, guys and girls. Kind. I don't think we understand that. Some people will say kindness. I always say sweet, sugary words to you, and I never disagree with you or anything. Is that kindness? Let me tell you what. I'm about to make a business deal, and some of you know that that is a bad business deal. The person has taken money from 100 different people, and you know I'm about to make that, and you don't tell me about it. Are you being very kind to me? Absolutely not. If you see me about to make a mistake, and you don't tell me, that's not kindness. That's not love. That's the opposite. You don't love me enough to tell me, to warn you. What's the next one? Kind and patient.
Envy and boast. It does not.
That's what it does not do. The reason I had you talk about what kinds of things do you do? If it's the person, it always has to be about me. It always has to be what they want to do. That's going to be a problem. Y'all heard that, right?
Yeah. No, I did.
That's going to be a problem. Have you ever met somebody that no matter what conversation you had, it had to be turned around and it had to come about? They got to one-up you. Whatever you've done, if it's bad, they've done something worse. If it's good, oh, I've done something better than that. It's always got to be about them. You're going to get tired of that. You're going to get tired of that. That's not love. Give me the next one. Somebody give me the next one here.
It's not arrogant.
What's arrogant mean? Ooh. And I know every one of you has met somebody that is this.
Full of himself.
That's the way we say it down here. They're full of themselves. We look down my nose at everybody. Is there a group of people that kind of had that reputation in the New Testament? What we call them? Pharisees. Or the scribes. Or the lawyers. Any of those. They thought they were better than everyone else. In fact, in the parable it talks about the Pharisee and the publican having a prayer. Luke tells us that these folks despised others. And that word means they counted them as worthless. Out of this great thing, you're not worth anything. That's arrogant. You ever had a conversation with somebody, and they've got to jump in, and they start talking, and about 2 minutes in, you're like, why are you even talking? You have no clue what you're talking about. But they got to talk a big game. They got to make out like they know everything. Pretty much, if I ever talk to you about sports and I start doing that, that's me. I'm out. I'm out. What's next?
Rude.
Rude. What'd you say? You can tell a lot about them when they play a game and they lose. How else can you tell? You go out to eat and how they treat the waiter, the waitress. How about when you go back to their house?
Parents.
What?
Parents.
Parents. How about you hanging out with mutual friends? That's how they treat them too, right? Folks that are in the dating stage, if you see they have no respect for their parents, let me let you in on a little secret. They will not have respect for you either. Because bluntly, they don't respect themselves. They got a lot to work on. That doesn't mean that they can't change. Doesn't mean that they can't get some help and get through it. But if you think things are magically going to change just because you say "I do," you are about to be sadly mistaken and on your way to a very rocky and miserable marriage. Take note of what they're doing now. What's the difference between saying, "I'm sorry," and being sorry?
Actions. You can say you're sorry, but you have to show that you're sorry.
So if I'm truly sorry, when that same situation comes up again, how's it handled? Same way? Differently. Does it mean I won't make mistakes? Absolutely not. But if you're truly sorry, that means you don't plan on making that same mistake the same way again. Does it mean you won't make another mistake? So if you're truly sorry, you don't want to do that again. You ever had to listen to a kid apologize that been made you apologize? Say you're sorry. How do they answer? Come on, somebody do it for me.
Sorry.
Say it again.
Sorry.
With that. Do they mean it? Let me just do what I have to do to keep me from getting into any more trouble. Let me say I'm sorry, so maybe it'll calm you down and your feelings will be okay and we can keep dating because I don't want you to see the real me. All right, I said we'd get to it. Keep going. We're about to go into the one I want to get to. What are we at?
It does not insist on its own way.
Guy come home, true story. Guy come home, and the lady who has 4 or 5 kids. I can't remember how many she had at the time. Not just 4 at the time. She has the guy come in late. Didn't let her know he was coming in late, but he come in late. I don't suppose it is she's a Christian. She's got a table spread, country vegetables, with bacon or something like that. Come in and insisted she needed to make him a steak. Ladies, how's that going to go over with you? Don't pull no punches. You have got 3 or 4 vegetables and a meat, cornbread, whatever, all the fixings on the table. A good meal by anyone's standards. Your husband comes in, I don't want that stuff. You got to fix me a steak.
What are we going to do?
Do what?
Where are we going to eat then?
I know you better than that. Tell the truth. What you gonna say?
You know what skill is.
There it is. No, you wouldn't say that. I know.
But
I would.
many times he didn't like what I cooked tonight.
Yes, but
Somewhere else.
I didn't demand you make anything else. I might not have liked it, but I would have made it.
Yeah, I'm sure there's
There's some tension, I feel like.
Do what?
Tension.
Between her and I?
I'm just kidding.
Say it again. Hey, Steve, you know where the skillet is. If it's not upside the head. That's hurtful, guys. It may not be something you want, but don't you demand that she does something else. And I told you before I started this, I'm going to tell you out of mistakes I've made, rather than me coming from the point, hey, I know the right thing to do. That was hurtful. There's nothing wrong with the food that's on the table. I should have been happy that was made and ate it. What about, are we down at the end? Is there any more?
Yeah, for sure.
Okay. There's a bunch that you can group together coming up, I think.
It's not irritable or resentful.
The compromise has to be genuine. Okay, well, we'll do it your way. It's always got to be your way. You see where that can cause a problem? Because I'm going to tell you, here's what's going to happen. You're going to think, well, I always have to do it your way. And what they're going to be thinking is, I always have to do it your way. Now, careful, you're going to get into a mess there. Keep going. What's next?
It does not rejoice at wrongdoing, but rejoices with the truth.
But it doesn't rejoice at wrongdoing. So let me ask you something. If somebody were to fall, break their toe, should your wife laugh at you? When you're in agony and pain. That one right there. I can't ever get hurt around her because it's a comedy act. She thinks it's funny.
It's the grace that he does it.
That's my wife.
Can't help it.
Lord mercy.
You don't get to say, well, you deserve it. You don't get to say that anymore. In your mind, you might think it. But that's not love. Love is, you might have deserved it, but I didn't want you to have it. When it comes to a punishment. You might have deserved it, but I didn't want you to get hurt. That's just her way of dealing with things. I've learned about it and I go on. She does ask how I'm doing.
I laugh the whole time.
And laughs the whole time. The first few times that happened,
You got my phone.
I was not happy at all. Because I did not find the humor in it that she found it. Especially when it was water left on the floor with somebody and I slept on it and broke my toe.
I don't even know what that is.
That was the shower at the first house where I slipped and my toe hit the toilet.
Not Temple's.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
We worked at Temple's.
What else?
Now right then, love bears all things, believes all things, hopes all things, endures all things.
Whoa. There's all things. You know, I got to put up with them even when I don't feel like it. When I've had a bad day, you know what happens when two people get together that have had a bad day?
It gets worse.
I need a Snickers bar.
You've got to, when you're going to see each other, you've got to determine in your head, okay, I've had a bad day, but she or he doesn't deserve me taking it out on me. And again, I'm not coming to you from a place where I know the right answer. I'm coming to you from a place where I did the wrong thing. You've had one of those days. You're stressed to the max. You just want to be left alone. Problem is, she's had the same kind of day. And y'all come home, the kids are running around, fussing, fighting, feuding with each other. And if you're not careful, somebody's going to blow up. And somebody's going to get hurt.
I haven't gotten to live it yet, but in my personal opinion, I kind of feel like when you come home to that person, that should be your sense of peace and, okay, it's time to wind down. Even though I've had a bad day, they're going to make me feel better because that's, in my opinion, how it's supposed to be. But
I'm going to give you a statement a little later on as we're studying that's going to hit that just right there. That should be the place you can go to and have peace. So I'm going to hit both of you right now. If you're going to get married, and if your husband hits that door and you're on him as soon as he comes through the door, you didn't do, and you need to do, and you da 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 da. It didn't work. Husbands, you come through the door and you you start complaining about everything that is or isn't done, it ain't gonna work. Take a minute, talk to each other. How's your day? How was your day? And listen. And guys, we'll get to this later. Sometimes they just want you to listen. They don't want an answer. They don't want you to fix it. They just want you to listen. And sometimes they want your opinion. Now I'm going to flip it. Ladies, if you don't want us to fix it, because that's the way we're wired, say, I just need you to listen. Be clear. I just need you to listen. Or, what do you think? That lets us know if we're just allowing us to be a sounding board, allowing you to get something off your chest, or do you want us to think through it and see if maybe we have a suggestion that might work? But be clear. Communication, and we'll get to that a lot more. Believes all things, bears all things, hopes all things. Hope. What's hope? It's more along those lines. It's not, well, I hope everything turns out. No, it's expectant hope. You know what? We love each other. So the hope is, the expectation is, we're going to get through this. It may be rocky, it may be rough, but we're going to get through this. Man, it sounds crazy. It hopes. You never lose hope. That's true love. And guess what? If you haven't figured it out yet, it is a tall order. And just let me burst your bubble right now. You're going to fail miserably at times. And your partner is going to fail miserably at times at it. Let's just hope it hit the same day. That's when it gets rough. 3 minutes? All right. So I'm going to start this one. Are the opinions? I'm going to end with this question. Should you take heed to, should you listen to the opinions of family, family and friends when they tell you things that they've observed about your significant other? You're shaking your head. What do you think?
I've listened to what she says. I'll be honest. She knows most of the time. And she wouldn't say something. I know I can trust her because she wouldn't say something if she didn't feel it necessary or that it wasn't true.
That's great. Because you understand that. But if I'm infatuated, what do I do when you give me advice?
Maybe don't listen to it because I did that too.
Defend it.
Well, you don't understand. You don't know them like I know them. That's exactly what they're telling me. I don't know them like you know them because what are you looking for in them? The best. And guess what you see? The best. Rose-colored glasses. I want to see what's the best. And maybe you don't notice how they treated that waitress or whatever. And somebody else is, that was rude the way he treated or she treated. Or, have you ever rode with her? Man, she's got bad road rage. Have you? So you're telling me that maybe it's wise to listen to outside opinions? The bottom line is the choice is going to be yours. You choose whether to continue the relationship with the person or not. But I urge you to truly listen to what those folks, friends, family, whatever, are saying about that person. Truly listen. And try to look at that person through the lens that they just gave you. and see if it's true, or, you know, nobody's ever good enough for daddy's little girl. Maybe he just doesn't see any good in the guy. Mama doesn't see that ain't good enough for my baby boy. Maybe they only see the bad. Or maybe that friend is jealous because you're no longer spending time with them, and if it's a friend of the opposite sex, maybe they actually have feelings for you and have never told you. You got to weigh all that stuff out, right? My goodness, you're white tonight. You're killing me. I'm going to end with this. They have a different perspective. They also have experience. Maybe they've gone through heartbreak. Maybe they felt like you felt and thought that was the one. Take time to listen to them. The final decision is yours. But take time to listen to them. Next week, a very uncomfortable subject. We're going to talk about intimacy and dating. What does it look like? How far can it go? We'll look at some scriptures that gives us some indication of what we should and should not do. I got any questions? Comments, rude remarks? I believe it's time. Thank y'all.